What is the price of unlimited power? In the world of Dragon Ball, we are taught that strength is the ultimate goal. Goku trains every single day to break his limits. Vegeta sacrifices his pride to gain a fraction of that power. Frieza destroys entire civilizations just to maintain his dominance. But there is one warrior who never asked for strength. One warrior who was born with a power so terrifying that it destroyed his life before it even began. We look at Broly and we see a monster. We see the legendary Super Saiyan who can throw Goku around like a ragdoll. But if you look closer into his eyes, you do not see a warrior. You see a scared child trapped inside a weapon of mass destruction. Today, we are going to expose the tragic reality of Broly. We are not just talking about power levels or transformations. We are talking about a psychology that was shattered by the very thing that makes him special. Why does Broly scream? Why does he lose control? And why is his existence the saddest story in the entire history of the Saiyan race? By the end of this video, you will never look at the legendary Super Saiyan the same way again. To understand the tragedy, we have to go back to the beginning. The nursery on planet Vegeta. Imagine being an infant only a few days old and having a power level of 10,000. For context, that is higher than Nappa, higher than Bardock. It is higher than the elite warriors who spent decades fighting on the front lines. Goku was born with a power level of 2. Broly was born with 10,000. On paper, this sounds like a blessing. The Saiyans are a warrior race. They value strength above everything else. A child like Broly should have been celebrated as a savior. He should have been treated like royalty. But that is not what happened. Instead of a celebration, Broly was met with fear. King Vegeta looked at this child and he did not see a future asset for his army. He saw a threat to his throne. This is the first tragedy of Broly's life. His own people rejected him simply for existing. King Vegeta ordered the execution of an infant. Think about the cruelty of that decision. He was not exiled because he was weak like Goku. He was sentenced to death because he was too strong. This set the tone for Broly's entire existence. His power was not a gift, it was a death sentence. Paragus, the father of Broly, begged for his son's life. He pleaded with the king, but it fell on deaf ears. Broly was stabbed and tossed into a garbage pod and launched into the depths of space to rot on a desolate world called Vampa. This is where the psychological damage truly begins. Vampa is not just a planet. It is a hellscape. It is a world of harsh storms, giant monsters, and zero civilization. Broly and his father were stranded there for decades. Now pause for a second and think about Goku's childhood. Goku was sent to Earth. He landed in the woods and was found by Grandpa Gohan. Gohan was a martial arts master, but more importantly, he was a kind soul. He taught Goku manners. He taught him right from wrong. He gave him food and love and a sense of safety. Even though Goku hit his head and forgot his mission, that foundation of love shaped who Goku became. Broly had the exact opposite experience. He did not have a Grandpa Gohan, he had Paragus. And Paragus was not a father. He was a man consumed by revenge. Paragus looked at Broly and he did not see a son. He saw a tool. He saw a loaded gun that he could point at King Vegeta. For 41 years, Broly lived on Vampa, 41 years of isolation. His only social interaction was with a bitter, vengeful man who viewed him as an asset. Broly never learned how to talk properly. He never learned social cues. He never learned how to process emotions. The only friend Broly ever made was a giant beast on the planet named Ba. Broly would play with this creature. For the first time, he felt a connection to another living thing. He felt joy. But Paragus saw this as a distraction. He saw Broly getting soft. So what did Paragus do? He shot the beast. He severed the ear of Broly's only friend to teach him a lesson. This moment is crucial to understanding Broly. When we see Broly wearing that green fur around his waist in the movie, that is not just a fashion choice. That is the ear of his best friend. He wears it as a reminder of the one thing he loved that was taken away from him. It is a symbol of his trauma. It is proof that in Broly's life, love is always punished and strength is the only thing that matters. But the abuse did not stop there. As Broly grew older, his power became uncontrollable. He would get angry and his energy would spike and he would lose his mind. Paragus realized he could not control this monster he had raised, so he introduced the shock collar. Every time Broly showed an emotion that Paragus did not like, he was shocked. High-voltage electricity surged through his neck, forcing him into submission. Imagine living like that. You are afraid to feel anger. You are afraid to feel excitement. You are afraid to be yourself because every time you do you are punished with physical pain. This created a Pavlovian response in Broly. He learned to suppress everything. He bottled up his rage. He bottled up his sadness. He stood still and silent waiting for an order. This is why Broly looks so calm when we first see him. It is not peace. It is repression. He is a walking pressure cooker waiting to explode. And this brings us to the moment everything changed. The arrival of the Frieza force. When Chilai and Limo land on Vampa, they find a savage man living in a cave. But they also see something Paragus never saw. They see a human being. Chilai looks at Broly and she doesn't see a monster. She sees a naive, innocent man who has been manipulated his entire life. There is a scene where Broly tries to eat an energy bar and he is confused by the wrapper. It is a funny moment, but it is also heartbreaking. This man is over 40 years old and he has the mental maturity of a child. He has the power to destroy galaxies, but he doesn't know how to unwrap a candy bar. This contrast is the core of his tragedy. He is a god in terms of strength, but a prisoner in terms of freedom. When Frieza picks them up, he senses the potential immediately. Frieza does not care about Broly's suffering. He only sees what King Vegeta saw and what Paragus saw. A weapon. Frieza realizes that Paragus is the trigger. If he can manipulate the father, he can aim the weapon at his greatest enemies Goku and Vegeta. And so Broly is dragged from one prison on Vampa to another prison on Frieza's ship. He is cleaned up and put in armor, but he is still just a tool. He has no agency. He has no choice. He is simply being moved across the universe to fight a battle he does not understand against people he does not hate. This leads us to the battlefield on Earth. This is where the tragedy transforms into horror. When the fight begins, Broly is not fighting because he wants to win. He is fighting because he is terrified of disobeying his father. Watch the fight closely in the movie. At the beginning, Broly is learning, he is adapting, but he is also scared. You can see the panic in his eyes when Vegeta transforms. He doesn't know what is happening, but then the instinct kicks in. The Saiyan blood takes over. What happens when you back a frightened animal into a corner? It lashes out. That is exactly what happens as the fight with Vegeta escalates. Broly is not fighting with technique or strategy. He is fighting with pure survival instinct. Every time Vegeta punches him, Broly learns. But he is not learning how to be a martial artist. He is learning that pain is the only reality. He realizes that to stop the pain, he has to become the pain. Then comes the moment of the first transformation. The Wrath state. His eyes turn yellow and his muscles expand. This is a critical lore moment that is often overlooked. Paragus explains that Broly has tapped into the power of the great ape without transforming into a monkey. He is using the raw destructive power of the Uzaru while keeping his human form. But think about what the great ape represents. It is the loss of reason. It is the beast taking over the man. Usually a Saiyan transforms into a giant ape and forgets who they are. Broly is doing something far more painful. He is channeling that madness into his own body. He is feeling the rage of the beast tearing him apart from the inside. He is screaming not just to intimidate Vegeta, but because the power hurts. It is physically agonizing to contain that much energy in a mortal body. Goku steps in and tries to stop the fight. This is the most tragic interaction in the movie. Goku pauses the battle and tells Broly that he does not have to do this. He sees the good in Broly. He sees that Broly is not evil, he is just being used. For a split second, Broly hesitates. You can see it in his face. He is confused. No one has ever spoken to him with kindness before. No one has ever given him a choice, but before he can choose, the tragedy of his upbringing pulls him back in. Paragus shouts a command. The shock collar may be gone, but the mental chains are still there. Broly snaps back into rage because he believes he has no other option. He believes his only purpose is to fight. And then Frieza decides to intervene. Frieza is watching this battle and he realizes that Broly has hit a ceiling. He needs a trigger to push Broly past his limits. He remembers how Goku became a Super Saiyan on Namek. It was triggered by the death of Krillin. It was triggered by loss. So Frieza commits the ultimate act of cruelty. He kills Paragus with a single beam through the chest. He murders the father and then screams out to Broly that he has been killed. This is the breaking point, and it is complicated. Paragus was a terrible father. He abused Broly. He enslaved him. He treated him like a tool. By all logic, Broly should be free now that his abuser is dead, but trauma does not work like that. Paragus was the only person Broly had for 41 years. He was his father and his commander and his entire world. When Broly sees his father's dead body, he does not feel relief. He feels an ocean of grief. The one connection he had to sanity is severed. And this grief is too much for his broken mind to handle. It converts instantly into power. The sky turns black. The dimension shatters. Broly transforms into a Super Saiyan, but look closely at this transformation. When Goku first turned Super Saiyan, it was heroic. It was the birth of a warrior of justice. When Gohan turned Super Saiyan 2, it was the awakening of a protector. When Broly turns Super Saiyan, it is a horror show. His pupils vanish. His eyes go blank. This is the moment Broly dies. The man named Broly is gone. The gentle soul who played with Bar and made friends with Chilai has been completely erased. All that is left is a vessel of infinite destruction. He attacks everything. He attacks Goku, he attacks Vegeta, he even attacks Frieza. There is a supreme irony here. Frieza wanted to use Broly as a weapon, but the weapon has no handle. Broly beats Frieza for an hour straight. Frieza is the one who killed his father, but Broly is so lost in his madness that he does not even know why he is fighting. He is just a storm of energy destroying everything in its path. This is the concept of the tragic cost. The cost of Broly's infinite power is his soul. To access that level of strength, he has to sacrifice his humanity. He has to become a mindless monster. He is trapped in a nightmare where he is hurting everyone around him and he cannot wake up. When Gogeta arrives, the fight changes tone completely. It stops being a battle and starts being an execution. Gogeta is a fusion of two master martial artists. Broly is just a wild animal. Gogeta dominates him effortlessly, and as the fight goes on, we see the fear return to Broly. In the final moments before Gogeta launches the Kamehameha look at Broly's eyes, his pupils return for a split second. He is terrified. He knows he is going to die. He looks at this godlike blue warrior in front of him and he is just a scared child again. He does not want to be the strongest. He just wants to live. This is why the ending of the movie is so important. Chilai makes a wish on the Dragon Balls to save him. She wishes for Broly to be sent back to Vampa. She saves him not from Gogeta but from himself. When Broly lands back on Vampa, he is exhausted and reverted to his base form. He is alive, but he is back exactly where he started, on a desolate rock with nothing to his name. The difference is now he is truly alone. His father is dead. The Frieza force is gone. He is back in the prison where he grew up, but now he carries the trauma of almost destroying the universe. But there is a glimmer of hope. Chilai and Limo arrive to stay with him. For the first time in his life, Broly has people who are with him by choice. They are not using him, they are not afraid of him, they just want to be his friends. This brings us to the core philosophy of Dragon Ball. Goku seeks power to protect. Vegeta seeks power to prove himself. Broly seeks power because he is forced to. He is the antithesis of a shonen hero. He is the reluctant god. We have to ask ourselves what is next for Broly. He is currently on Beerus's planet training with Goku and Vegeta. The creators are trying to rehabilitate him. They are trying to teach him how to control his power without losing his mind. But is that even possible? Can you undo 40 years of trauma? Can you fix a mind that breaks every time it feels anger? The tragedy of Broly is that his potential is infinite, but his stability is zero. If he ever truly loses control again, he might destroy the very friends he has finally found. So what is the final verdict on Broly? Is he a hero or a ticking time bomb? The answer is both. And that is what makes him the most interesting character in modern Dragon Ball right now. We are heading into the Black Frieza arc. The universe is about to face a threat that not even Ultra Instinct or Ultra Ego can handle. Logic dictates that Broly is the secret weapon. His power growth is unnatural. If he trains for just a few years, he could theoretically surpass everyone. But should he? This is the moral dilemma that Goku and Vegeta now face. If they force Broly to fight Black Frieza, they are doing the exact same thing Paragus did. They would be weaponizing a broken man. The tragedy of Broly is not over. It is just paused. Every time he powers up, he risks losing himself again. And maybe the true victory for Broly isn't defeating Frieza. Maybe the true victory is never having to fight again. He is the strongest mortal in the multiverse, but he would trade it all for a quiet life on Vampa with his friends. That is the tragic cost. He has the power of a god but the heart of a victim, and as we watch him train on Beerus's planet we have to wonder, will he master his rage or will his rage eventually consume him for good? Only time will tell. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the psychology of the Saiyans, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are exploring the darkest and most hidden lore of the Dragon Ball universe every single week, and you do not want to miss